Stuart Broad is calling curtains on his professional cricketing career that has spanned close to 17 years. He's had the ultimate of highs, he's had the ultimate of lows. But one of the lowest points in his career came when he was just 21 years of age. You all remember this image. Yuvraj Singh, one of India's greatest match winners, launched into Stuart Broad in the World T20 2007 encounter in Durban. At the age of 21, Stuart Broad was hit for 6 sixes in 1 over. Yuvraj Singh had become the second player in, if you may say, in white ball cricket to have hit 6 sixes. In that same year, Herschel Gibbs had hit of Jan Van Bunga and his career went nowhere. When Stuart Broad was hit for 6 sixes in 1 over by Yuvraj Singh, we felt maybe this was the end of a promising talent that had emerged from England. But Stuart Broad showed his mental toughness, and in a spectacular way, he established himself as one of the best England quicks that they had ever seen. Along with Jimmy Anderson, they picked up well over 1,000 wickets. If Anderson did not get you, Broad would. And Broad, after 160 plus tests and 600 plus wickets, he now has established himself and he walks into the sunset as one of the greatest ever bowlers that England has ever produced. Now, in that press conference that he gave when he announced his retirement, Stuart Broad finally revealed how did he overcome that mental trauma that was given to him at the age of 21 when Yuvraj Singh hit 6 sixes of him in Durban. It is very, very interesting, and it's a lesson for all upcoming cricketers as to how you can be mentally strong as well. Because Stuart Broad, after that 6 sixes incident in Durban, he decided that I started building my warrior mode after that experience. I think it steeled me up to make me the competitor. And also the small fact that England were anyway not going to make it to the knockout stages of the World Cup in that World T20. So that's why that pressure was kind of off. But 6 sixes in 1 over, it can be a career killer, but not for Stuart Broad. This has driven me forward. I pretty much based a whole mental routine through that experience. This was the starting point of which he based his mental toughness upon. He constantly had to say that, okay, I can do it, I am confident enough, I can handle opposition, I can handle hostile crowds from that experience. I was left very short as an international performer. I had rushed my preparation. Now, preparation, rushing in, thinking that, oh, I am ready, that realization came that he wasn't ready at all because Yuvraj Singh was unleashed. And Stuart Broad felt the full wrath of it. And that is why, after the low, this is how you build your mental strength. Warrior mode, steely determination, all that things which did not ruffle Stuart Broad at all. You saw, he handled the hostile conditions in Australia with aplomb. He was in that ice zone wherein nothing can ruffle me. And that is why Stuart Broad, if you look at it from that 2000 experience, he needed that low to ensure he would touch the greatest of highs. So, once again, I pretty much based a whole mental routine through that experience. Speaks volumes of how Stuart Broad is. Because he realized that no bowler is ever prepared for the best of times. He is not even prepared for the worst of times. So, mentally, he had to take it every ball, every game, every session, every hour. He had to steel himself for that. And the byproduct of this was that he always had an excellent record against Australia. But it was also conditioned by the fact that England's culture and England's history from the time he was growing up was full of pessimism and cynicism, because Broad revealed as to why he did well against Australia. I think there's something in my family history with the Ashes. As you know, his father, Chris Broad, was also a good player and he always used to have a good record against the Aussies as well. My influential years as a kid playing cricket, we weren't winning many Ashes tests. I mean, if you look at it, when Stuart Broad was growing up, he's now 37 years of age. So that means it would be around 1986. That was the last time England had won in Australia, by the way, when he was born. After that, there was a period of absolute cynicism. You lost 4-0 when Australia came in 1989. You were undone by the ball of the century and you lost 3-1 in 1993, 3-2 in 1997, 4-1 in 2001. All that culminated in the 2005 miracle. But Stuart Broad, at that time growing up, he was 19 years of age. He really wanted to make an impact, and boy did he have an impact. The only bowler in Test history to have over 150 wickets against Australia, Stuart Broad, in 40 tests. That grew my hunger and desire to want to be part of a team that could win against Australia. Come to think about it, England won in 2009 2-1, that spell of 5 for 37 from Stuart Broad. He didn't play a part in 2010-11 because he had an Achilles injury. 2013, he was the lone bright star in that final whitewash that England had. But in the 2013 series that happened at home, he really was in superb form. That 11-wicket haul in Chester history was a sight for the ages. 2015, the final humiliation was undone because he subjected Australia to the ultimate humiliation. 18.3 overs, 60 all out, 8 for 15. Brilliance from Stuart Broad. And that's why all the 16 years of pessimism that came from 1989 to 2005, that made him hungrier. It made him determined to do well against Australia. He's had several massive moments against Australia. But there is one moment of horror that he said that I will never go through, because Broad's horrific moment, I have loved every minute against Australia for sure, but he added a disclaimer. Apart from Mitchell Johnson bowling at Brisbane, that was horrific. 2013-14, that start of that Ashes test at Brisbane, when Australia had already reached a total of about 290, England were at the crease. Johnson was unleashed. That ball that he got rid of Trott, and then Michael Carberry, and then the vicious, brutal bouncer barrage that he had against Stuart Broad, he never became the same after that. Stuart Broad feared for his life. Most of England's tail enders were fearing for their lives because Johnson at 90 miles per hour at the body line redefined in a much more brutal way. England were absolutely decimated. And Stuart Broad, the one who coped the maximum amount of abuse from the Australians because he didn't walk in Trent Bridge, he had the double whammy. Mitchell Johnson blasted him out in Brisbane, blasted him out in Adelaide, and also in Perth, and also in Melbourne. The only place where he didn't get it was Sydney. So, for sure, apart from Mitchell Johnson bowling at Brisbane, that was horrific. That series, England would want to whitewash it because 5-0. Only the second consecutive time in that modern era, if you look at 2006-07, they were whitewashed final by Ricky Ponting's team, 5-0 by Michael Clarke's team. So, there is a lesson for every upcoming cricketer here. When you experience the ultimate of lows, prepare yourself to be mentally strong by taking every ball, every session as a challenge. That is the only way that you can achieve Stuart Broad-like success, because for anybody, 6 sixes would have been a career killer. Look at the list. Whoever has been hit for 6 sixes, they have never recovered. Stuart Broad is an exception to the norm. Thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this live. We'll be back with more updates on sports today. Tap that bell icon so you know when we go live, and don't forget we are on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram as well. Bye-bye.